I work reception at a hospital in Oslo. American woman walks in holding her arm at a weird angle, clearly broken. She keeps asking where billing is. I point to the door marked emergency. She says no, billing first. I need to know if I can afford this. I tell her there's no billing department to check with beforehand. She stares at me like I just told her the building runs on magic. That's impossible, she says. Someone has to tell me the price. I explain again treatment first, minimal paperwork after. She plants herself in a chair, pulls out her phone, and starts Googling Norwegian hospital scams. 20 minutes later, she's still there, arms swelling, absolutely convinced this is some elaborate fraud. A nurse finally convinces her to come back. 2 hours later, she's casted, given pain medication, handed a bill for about $30. She stares at it. This is wrong. Where's the rest? There is no rest. She sits in the lobby for another hour, just holding the paper, refreshing her. Banking app like the real charge is going to appear any second. My cousin manages a pharmacy in Melbourne. American tourist comes in, frantic, waving a prescription for insulin. How much? He asks, already pulling out 3 credit cards like he's preparing for battle. My cousin scans it. It's about $40. The guy goes pale. Holds up his American prescription receipt. Same insulin, same quantity. $450 back home. He accuses my cousin of selling fake medication. Says there's no way real insulin costs this little. In America, it's expensive because it's quality controlled, he explains, dead serious. My cousin shows him the pharmaceutical authentication. The government subsidy breakdown explains how the pharmaceutical benefits scheme works. The American listens, nods along, then says, but that's socialism. How do you know what you're getting? Is real? He buys it anyway, but spends 15 minutes photographing the bottle from every angle and reading reviews of Australian pharmacies on his phone, still half convinced he's buying black market medicine. He comes back the next day to confirm he didn't die overnight, genuinely shocked. I'm a taxi driver in Dublin. Pick up an American couple from the airport. Husband tells me they're here for his hip replacement surgery. We're medical tourists, he announces proudly. Asks me if I know any good private hospitals that take international patients. I tell him most people here just use the public system. He laughs. Yeah, but we want it done right. We're paying cash. Explain. Irish public hospitals do hip replacements. Regularly, the orthopedic units are well regarded. He cuts me off. Listen, I know how government healthcare works. You wait 2 years and get some student fresh out of school. We're here to pay for quality. His wife jumps in about how they budgeted $12,000 for the surgery and recovery. I mention offhand that an Irish person might pay a fraction of that, maybe a few €1,000 at most, even going private. Dead silence from the back seat. Then, that can't be right. Hip replacements are advanced procedures. I drop them at their hotel. 3 days later, I pick them up again. Husband still has his bad hip. Turns out they spent those 3 days calling American surgeons to verify that. Irish doctors actually went to medical school because the prices seemed suspicious. They flew home without the surgery, convinced Irish healthcare is a scam because anything affordable must be incompetent. My brother works at for a medical clinic in Toronto. American patient shows up for her first appointment, asks where she signs the contract. The receptionist has no idea what she means. The treatment contract, the woman clarifies. You know, where it lists what you'll do if I can't pay, how you'll pursue collections, the arbitration clause. My brother gets called over to explain. He tells her there's no contract. She sees the doctor. The doctor treats her. Most of it's covered. She pulls out her phone and starts reading him Canadian law from some forum. Says she read that Canadians have secret medical debt that appears later. She insists there must be paperwork she's not seeing, some hidden agreement. Demands to speak to the billing manager. We don't have a billing manager. She asks for the collections department. We don't have one of those either. Finally, she refuses treatment entirely. Says she'll go to a transparent facility that's honest about costs up front. She pays 300 Canadian for a walk-in clinic instead, gets the same prescription. Then emails my brother's clinic a week later, asking why we tried to scam her with fake free healthcare. Attaches a screenshot of an American article titled, "Nothing is really free as evidence." I'm a university admin in Stockholm. American exchange student comes to my office in tears. She needs emergency dental work. A crown fell out. She's panicking because she has maybe $200 in her account. I tell her to go to the student health center. They'll refer her. She asks about payment plans. I say the student health service is included. She says no, for the dentist. I explain she'll pay a small portion, maybe $50 or $60 depending on the procedure. She stops crying, looks suspicious instead. How is that possible? A crown costs $2,000 minimum. Are you talking about a temporary? I'm talking about an actual crown done by an actual dentist in an actual dental clinic. She pulls. Up her phone shows me American dental prices. Highlights the crown costs like she's presenting evidence in court. Swedish dentists can't be doing the same thing for $50, probably using cheaper materials or skipping steps. I try explaining the high-cost protection system, how costs are capped annually. She interrupts. That's wealth redistribution. I'd be paying for other people's teeth, I'd point out. She's a student who's about to benefit from the system herself. She shakes her head slowly. It sounds too good to be true. It usually is. She ends up flying back to America mid-semester for dental work because she doesn't trust Swedish dentistry. Pays $4,000 out of pocket. Tells everyone the Swedish system is a trap. My wife's a nurse in Copenhagen. American woman comes into the ER with her kid who has a nasty ear infection. Standard stuff, we see it constantly. The doctor examines the child, prescribes antibiotics. The mother asks when the insurance negotiation happens. The doctor has no idea what that means. You know, she says, where you tell me what tests you recommend, and I tell you what my insurance will cover. And we figure out what we can actually afford to do. The doctor just stares, says the child has an ear infection. Here's the antibiotic. Pick it up at the pharmacy. The mother keeps pushing. Wants to know about tier pricing, in network versus out of network, whether the prescription is on her formulary. We don't have formularies. She accuses us of planning to surprise bill her later. Demands a cost breakdown in writing before she accepts any prescription. The doctor writes it all, down consultation fee, prescription cost, total, maybe $50. She reads it, goes quiet, then says, "This is a deposit, right? Hey, the real bill comes later." No, that's the actual full cost. She makes the doctor sign the paper like it's a legal document, takes a photo of his medical license on the wall, clearly. Preparing for what she's convinced will be a lawsuit later. Picks up the antibiotics, kid gets better, and 2 months later she leaves a 1-star review online saying Danish healthcare is deceptively advertised, because she still hasn't received the real bill yet. I run a medical records office in Berlin. American expat requests his file. Standard procedure. He opens it, flips through, his face goes red. "Where's the bill?" he demands. I tell him there's no itemized bill in medical records. That's handled separately through his insurance. Insists. Every procedure has to have a cost listed in the file that's patient rights. It says in America, his file would show every charge, every code, every negotiated rate. I explain German files track medical history, not billing history. He starts arguing about transparency, says this is how hospitals hide costs. See what each appointment cost. How do I know I'm not being overcharged? I explain again that his statutory insurance covers it. He pays his monthly premium and a tiny copay, that's it. He leaves, comes back an hour later with printouts from American patient advocacy websites about the importance of itemized billing. Tries to file a formal complaint that we're violating his rights by not showing him prices he never actually paid. Spends 6 months trying to get a real accounting of his medical costs. Finally gives up and moves back to Texas. Tells everyone German healthcare is designed to keep patients in the dark. My aunt's a GP in Auckland. American patient books a consultation about his chronic back pain. She examines him, recommends physical therapy, writes the referral. He sits there, not moving. Is the MRI not covered? He asks. She explains an MRI isn't indicated yet. Physical therapy is the first-line treatment for this type of pain. He leans back, crosses his arms. In America, a good doctor orders the MRI first. That's thorough medicine. That's why American healthcare is the best. My aunt explains, ordering unnecessary imaging is actually poor practice. Exposes patients to radiation, drives up costs, without improving outcomes. He cuts her off. You're rationing care? You're making medical decisions based on budget, not what's best for the patient? She tries to get evidence-based guidelines, suggests conservative treatment first. He stands up. I came here for healthcare, not cost-cutting. I'll find a doctor who actually cares about quality. He goes to 3 more GPs, gets the same answer from all of them, eventually pays $2,000 out of pocket at a private imaging center. The scan shows exactly what the physical exam already indicated: muscle strain, no structural damage. Physical therapy would have cost him about $60 total. He still tells people New Zealand doctors don't believe in diagnostic testing because the government won't let them. I work the help desk at a health clinic in Brussels. American guy calls angry, says he needs to file a grievance. Someone from our clinic made a house call to check on him after his surgery. I didn't consent to that. That's an invasion of privacy. Who sent them? I explained that post-operative home visits are standard here. It's part of follow-up care. He says he didn't authorize it, didn't sign anything permitting people to show up at his home. Wants to know how much he's being charged for this unrequested service. There's no charge, it's included. He goes silent for a beat. Nothing is free. Someone's paying for it, which means I'm paying for it. I'm paying for something I didn't ask for. I try explaining it's built into the system. Everyone's covered. He talks over me. This is exactly what I warned my friends about. Government healthcare means they track you. They send people to your house without permission. It's surveillance disguised as care. I ask if the nurse who visited him did anything inappropriate. No, she was nice. Checked my incision. Seemed competent. But that's not the point. The point is freedom. In America, you choose your care. Here, they force it on you. He demands to opt out of all future home visits. We note it in his file. A week later, he files a formal complaint with the hospital about the mandatory wellness check he received. Claims it's a violation of medical autonomy. I manage a hospital ward in Vienna. American woman's brought in for a minor procedure. Nothing serious. Outpatient stuff. Afterwards, she asks for her discharge papers. Standard, we give her everything. She reads through it, looks confused. Where's the part about surprise billing? I ask what she means. You know, the disclosure that even though the hospital is a network, some doctor who saw me might be out of network and I could get a separate bill later. I tell her, everyone here is employed by the same system. There's no in-network or out-of-network. She doesn't believe it. Says in America, even in-network hospitals have out-of-network anesthesiologists, out-of-network radiologists. You never know who's going to bill you later. That's how they get you. You think you're covered? Then boom, $15,000 bill 6 weeks later. I promise her that's not how it works here. She makes me write a statement, sign it, saying no additional bills will arrive. Does it notarize? 3 months later, she's still checking her mail daily, convinced the real hospital bill is coming. Eventually concludes that Austria must send bills to collections immediately without notifying the patient first. Warns other Americans online that Austrian hospitals are running a debt trap scheme. My sister's a paramedic in Montreal. Gets called to a car accident, minor injuries. American tourist is one of the people involved. She's alert, talking, small cut on her forehead. My sister starts to assess her. The woman pushes her away. Are you in network? She asks. My sister has no idea what that means in this context. I need to know if my insurance covers you before you treat me. What's your provider number? My sister explains that in an emergency, she's not checking insurance, she's checking injuries. The woman starts crying. You don't understand. If you're out of network, this ambulance ride could cost me $10,000. I can't afford that. Just let me sit here. My sister tries to explain Canadian healthcare. It doesn't work that way. The ambulance is covered by the province. The woman keeps refusing, saying she'd rather risk it than go bankrupt. Another paramedic eventually convinces her by showing her a Canadian healthcare card from his wallet and explaining he pays nothing for emergencies either. She gets in the ambulance, but spends the whole ride asking for price quotes, demanding they call her insurance company in America first. Absolutely convinced she's about to get a bill that will destroy her financially. When she gets the $40 ambulance fee later, She thinks it's a down payment. I'm a medical interpreter in Lisbon. American woman needs a cardiology consult. I'm there to help with Portuguese, but she barely lets the doctor speak. She keeps asking about cash pay discounts. The cardiologist looks lost. I translate. The cardiologist says cost isn't discussed during appointments. That's handled through the National Health Service. The American says, if I pay cash directly, no insurance, can we negotiate a lower rate? The doctor genuinely has no framework for this conversation. Tries explaining he doesn't set prices, he's salaried. The system covers patients based on need. She pulls out an envelope of American cash. Says she brought $2,000, asks if that covers a full cardiac workup with stress test and echo. The doctor looks at me like I'm supposed to help. I tell her the workup she's describing might cost her 60 or 70 euros total through the public system. She says, stop lowballing me. I know what these tests cost. I had them in Florida last year. $4,500? You're telling me Portugal does it for 70? The doctor nods. She stuffs the money back in her purse. I want an American-trained cardiologist. This feels like a scam. She books an appointment at a private international clinic instead. Pays 1,800 euros for tests the public system would have done for pocket change. Then brags to everyone that she got real health care by avoiding the public system. My dad's a pharmacist in Oslo. American guy comes in with a prescription for a cholesterol medication. My dad fills it, hands it over. That's $12. The guy checks the bottle. This is a month's supply? My dad confirms. The guy's face does something complicated. I pay $260 for this at home. My dad shrugs, says pricing is regulated here. The American stands there turning the bottle in his hands. Then he says, what's different about it? It can't be the same drug. My dad shows him the exact same active ingredient, same dosage. The guy squints at the label. Maybe Norwegian regulations are lower. Maybe your version isn't as pure. There's got to be a reason it's cheaper, my dad explains. Bulk purchasing, price negotiations, the way public health systems leverage buying power. The American listens, nods slowly, then says, okay, but if this was really the same thing, American companies would charge less. They charge more because it's better. That's just economics. Fix the medication. But every time he comes back for a refill, he makes a comment about hoping it's real or wondering if he's getting the full dose. This eventually tells my dad he's starting to feel like the medication isn't working as well as his American version, even though his cholesterol numbers are textbook perfect. Convinced Norwegian medicine is a knockoff. I'm an ER nurse in Reykjavik. American tourist comes in with what turns out to be a kidney stone. We treat him, pain management, fluids, monitoring. When he's discharged, he asks for a cost estimate for his insurance company. I print him the summary. He reads it, checks it again. Wait, this says $1,500? For an ER visit, multiple scans, 6 hours of care? I confirm. He asks if that's just the hospital fee and the doctor bills separately. No, that's everything. He sits back down, pulls out his phone, shows me a photo of his last ER bill in Arizona. $12,000 for a 3-hour visit with fewer tests. He stares at me. How is this possible? Iceland is a tiny island in the middle of nowhere. You're telling me you have better healthcare prices than America? I mentioned that Iceland's healthcare system operates efficiently, focused on patient care rather than profit. He shakes his head. We have the best healthcare in the world. That's why it costs more. You get what you pay for. Then he pauses. Unless, are Icelandic doctors worse? I tell him our doctors train internationally, many in America. He looks genuinely troubled. Mutters something about sustainable models and market forces. Leaves still convinced that American healthcare's high costs must mean something. Must indicate quality, because otherwise, what's it all for? I work admissions at a hospital in Lyon. American woman is scheduled for a minor surgery. Pre-op appointment? She brings a binder 3 inches thick. Insurance cards, payment histories, copies of her credit report, pre-authorization letters. She hands it all to me like we're about to negotiate a car loan. I flip through it, confused. She says that's everything you need to verify coverage and run my payment plan. I explain we just need her social security number and her cart vitale. She stares at me. That's it? What about prior authorization? What about the approval code for my insurance? France has a different system. Most of this doesn't apply. She doesn't close the binder. Says she spent 2 weeks preparing this, calling her American insurance company, getting international coverage codes, setting up a medical travel fund. You're telling me I did all that for nothing? I nod. She looks at the binder, looks at me. This doesn't feel right. In America, there's always more paperwork. Always. Something's missing. I assure her everything's in order. She takes the binder with her into surgery anyway, sets it on the chair beside Thebed, like a security blanket.